Okay, so it's 99 degrees outside. It's 122 in the greenhouse, and it's 6.7 degrees in the house. That's odd. You know, years ago when I was building this north garden, people asked me what I was going to put between the beds, you know, in the walkways, whether it be plastic or wood chips or landscape fabric. And I said, I'm not going to put anything. I'm going to let the grass grow. And people kind of question that. Well, let me explain to you why. Well, number one, I like grass. I just don't, you know, like having to take care of it because there's more to it than just mowing it, right? You have to fertilize it and whatnot. But I like to have a soft grass in between them because I like to walk on it for one thing. But let me show you the real reason why I like to have grass and clover in between my beds. Okay, so take a look at that clover. It is absolutely gorgeous. I know it's pretty high right now because it's been a couple weeks and I've been busy putting plants in and stuff, and I haven't been able to have the time to mow it. But here's the thing, right? When I water my beds, right? Like you take these mushroom basket here, right? When I do a thorough watering of this bed, I know it's 100 degrees out. Look at those poor eggplant. When I water these beds, the water goes through the bed, right? Seeps down because that's just what it does. It leaches all the minerals out of it and into the surrounding area here, right? So you'll notice how lush this is. I didn't do anything. This all came up on its own, by the way. I started out with just dirt here. And then over the years, of course, I've got this beautiful clover that moved in. And so what happens is, that's why it's so beautiful here. I don't have to fertilize it or nothing. And then what happens, I go ahead and I mow this down and I weed whack it. All of these nutrients, right? I scoop it up and it goes right back into the bed. You'll see all the grass clippings here. They're dried up, of course. But so now when I water, I'm putting the nutrients back through, right? So I'm recycling all of the nutrients as it leaches out. If I put plastic down here, what's going to happen is the water or the nutrients are going to seep through the bed under the plastic, and I'll never get them back. So they're gone. So I have to continually keep fertilizing or doing whatever up here to keep nutrients in the bed. This way, I'm saying, no, you're taking nutrients out of the bed. I'm going to scoop you back up, and I'm going to put you back in the bed where you belong. So it's kind of a recycling thing. Now, people that have watched my channel for a while know that in the spring, of course, I put the composted chicken manure and the worm castings down, but that's all I give it. Now, people think that, you know, that's all I do when I mention that, and I should clarify that I do heavy mulching. And all of my mulching is mostly with the grass clippings. Sometimes when I have some extra worm castings, I'll spread that on because I do have worms. I have a worm farm, it's a small one. But I do have worm castings, and so I'll spread that on, but only because I have extra. And so mostly what I'm putting back in are the nutrients that are leaching out into the grass around it. So I like walking on grass. I think it's pretty. I love the clover. It's really soft to walk on. So when people kind of come over and see my garden, they notice the grass around, and they really like it. They say it's beautiful because of the beautiful grass around it. So if I'm forced to take care of grass, then I might as well put it back into the bed, right? So if I just have a lawn, which I do out there, take a look at that lawn. Look at my pathetic lawn out there. It is parched, it is dry, and that's actually a combination of Kentucky bluegrass and fescue. And so it is, it's resistant to a lot of the heat, so I don't really water that much. But look at it, it's just parched because it's not getting the water, and it'll come back when we start getting rain again, right? I mean, look in there, I don't do anything, and it's pretty green, right? So whenever I water things like my potatoes here, it goes down in to the ground, I mow it down, put it right back into the bed. It's kind of a win-win situation. I get a beautiful lawn in between the beds, and then I get to put the nutrients back in. So it only takes me about a half an hour, maybe an hour to completely weed whack and mow this whole north garden. And that's like once every 2 weeks. This variety here is called Kettle River Giant, and that one's not a giant, is it? I've had really good luck with this variety. There's a couple small ones, but take a look at this one. Look at that. That is just huge. Now, when I harvested my garlic last year. I think that a few people wanted to know exactly how I cured it and what I did to clean it up. I showed where I just took this in a bundle and hung it in the garage in a bundle to let it dry, but I did not show after that, once it was dry, what I did as far as making it look nice. Especially if you're going to like take these to a farmer's market and sell them, you want to make them look nice. You want to make them look like they just came from the grocery store. Last year, those of you that remember my harvesting last year, I left them all on the stalks, right? I kept them on, and then I hung them in the garage. Now the reason for that is because I wanted them to last longer. So if you leave them on the stalk and hang them up in a dark place, like the garage, then they'll last a lot longer. Once you cut them off like this, they start to you know, dry up more, and then they will split. Look at this one that kind of went mutant on me, and sometimes you'll end up with that. And that's what they'll start to do. This one here actually started growing again. Look at this. So it was starting to grow. So these two are going to go in the kitchen. So the reason why I've cut all of these off of here is because I'm going to be making garlic powder. So the ones that I just picked over there, the Kettle River Giant, those are going to get hung up and put in the garage, and then they'll be, you know, in there for months. So now let me show you what I do here. Now, if you have any long roots like this, you just cut those off. You can just use a pair of scissors. I just have these clippers. And then what you do is take the outer skin off like this. Now this is what they do when they're going to sell these. They take the outer skin off so it looks really nice like that. So there's no dirt, no blemishes, and then they cut this down nice and short like that. Now this is Chet's Italian Red, so it's going to have red streaks in it. So this is what they do when they're going to sell these. So you take them to farmer's market. And see, every variety is different as well. A lot of these split, and I picked these over a week ago, and already some of them have split like this and started to regrow. See, some of them have split, so these were a little bit late. But the ones over here that I just picked, what are they, the Oregon Giant or the Kettle River Giant, they're perfectly fine. Very few of those have split. So every variety seems to be different. So that's why it's good. I mean, I kind of grow the same varieties a lot. This one here, Chet's Italian Red, I've grown it only a few times. I'm not growing it next year because, you know, you'll see that they do okay. They're all right. But I've got a lot of small ones like this. And I like them to do, you know, when I grow, I like them to do incredibly well. There are so many varieties out there. There's no sense wasting my time on one that's kind of mediocre. So this won't go back in to the garden. So I'm not going to save any of the large ones. These are all going to go into garlic powder. Okay, now I had one person ask me, Tom, what's the deal with your goji berries? You have not shown them in a while. Have they all died? And so look at this thing. It's just taking over my bed. It's taking over my life. I keep pruning this thing, and I get thousands of goji berries every year on this doggone thing, and I just can't stop it. Every time I prune it, it loves me. It just gets bigger and bigger. So it's kind of one of these things where I'm not sure what to do with it. But yeah, it just keeps on going. And of course, I do have these seeds available on my website too. But yeah, I don't know what variety it is, but it's putting out like gangbusters. So you guys want to see something seriously cool? 2 years ago, I planted green onions in one of the beds. And I planted like 2 packages. And I just threw them in. There were just hundreds and hundreds of seeds. And so that year, they came up. And I just had tons of green onions. More than I could eat, right? And I was even giving them away. Well, I just left them in the bed for that winter. I just had way too many. The next year, they grew up even bigger and they were thicker. Now, they weren't that tender, but once you cut them all up and put them in a frying pan with other things, they soften right up. So they were huge, right? So I still had way too many, because now I had even more because they were much bigger, so I harvested even less. I left them in the ground again, and guess what they did this spring? Let me show you this. Look at this. Look at this. This is the green onions that I left in the bed. And look at this. We have little bulbs now that they've turned into. Of course, you know, the green onions are, you know, mostly immature onions, right? But so I left them in. Some of them didn't do too well. I just got little mini bulbs. But some of them did. Look at the clusters here. Look at that. Just amazing. So I just left them in there. These were 2 years old. And now I've got even more onions that I can't even use. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Well, this explains a lot. Do you or your kids really truly hate broccoli? Good news, it's not your fault. Researchers have found that as many as 25% of people carry a gene that makes vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, and others taste bitter. Okay, and lastly, a few people had asked when I was going to have the seeds available for some of the varieties on my website. This one here is Northern Delight. That one's coming back again. It won't be long. We'll be gathering seeds. You see I got blossoms here, and this grows really fast, so just watch for that. Big Zack, that's a monster tomato. We'll have that one back again. West Virginia Sweet Meat, that's a giant as well. This is Church, that's a large variety. That's a giant. Okay, and this is Mushroom Basket. We're going to have those again. And right here is Bear Claw. That was a popular one. And over here, these 4 plants. This is Herzegovak. That was a really popular one. That's a giant as well. And right here, this is Noah's Grape. We'll have that one available. And also about 20 other varieties that will be going on my website. So I've got about 30 varieties that I'm saving seeds this year that will go up on my website. So just keep an eye out for that, and we'll be harvesting as quick as we can and be making those available. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you later.